Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builder Supply, and this video is to bring you a closer look at the Pemko half-notch prep that would be done on a door bottom or a door sweep. And a half-notch is terminology that does need to be described and defined. We need to understand what it is and what Pemko is assuming you mean when we say half-notch. So let's take a closer look at that now. Now we have that item removed from the packaging here, and this is just a 6-inch sample piece. This shows a half-notch. So a half-notch is used when they have a, in this instance, a drip cap. So you could do a half-notch where you prep out or trim back only the drip cap portion, and then you leave the wall of the bottom itself intact. They can also do a full notch, where they would literally cut the face and all of it down, and you would do a full notch very likely when you did not have the room between the face of the door and the face of the stop to accommodate that thickness. A door sweep's normally not installed and run long across the entire face of the door, and then you have the door close against the stop. It's installed on the surface of the door between the stops. So you would do a half notch in this type of instance where the door is clearly going to, the door bottom will be installed all the way along the width of the door from end to end, but the drip cap has to be notched to account for the fact that the stop is in place. You could also do this same concept with a full notch where this, again, this portion of the door bottom is also removed. Clearly, when you're doing a half notch or a full notch, you're working on a door that's in swing. If you have an outswing door, you wouldn't be notching it at all because you're not encountering the stop in terms of having the exterior side. Now, you might still need to do a full notch on the inside if you had a situation where the door closes against the stop, but you don't even have that thickness available to you, which isn't very much. And I'll tell you what that is. Yeah, it's 0.048, so basically 50 thousandths. It's not a 16th of an inch, but it's really close. So why would you use a half notch? Well, when you install a door bottom like this that incorporates a drip cap, or a door sweep that incorporates a drip cap, on a in-swing door, this would obviously be on the outside, you are going to need to notch that, because when you run it long, you'll go to close the door and the drip cap is going to hit the stop. So it will have to be notched either in the field or at the factory. We don't very often have clients that order the notching procedure done at the factory. I think it's because people aren't aware that the factory does it as much as otherwise. I think people, when given the option, would rather have it notched. Now, what's happening here with the notch, and I'm going to pull up a document here. Now, when it comes to notching, a very important detail that we have to know is they can do a half notch and a half notch means that they're prepping only this portion, not all of it. It's assumed that they're going to do it on both ends, okay? And if you don't want it on both ends for whatever reason, then let us know, but they'll do the half notch on both sides. A half notch can be done in 1/2 inch, 9/16, 5/8, and 3/4. That's what they have listed in the site. I'm sure they could notch it, to any size. Now, which do you choose? Well, that's going to be the dimension of how much relief you have to have for the projection of the stop. A 1/2 inch could be very typical. This happens to be 5/8. 3/4 inch could be very typical as well. It depends really on the projection of the stop off the frame, but the door is going to be slightly less than the inside frame width opening. So if you have a 36-inch wide frame opening, your door is not going to be 36. It's going to be, 35 and 3/4, let's say. And if you have 1/2 inch stops, you really don't need a 1/2 inch notch because you're cutting more off than necessary, but that would be the smallest that they have. More appropriate that you'd probably have a 5/8 projection stop. That could be typical. On a hollow metal door, a 5/8 stop projection is the standard. In that event, I'd probably just use a 5/8 to give yourself a small relief that's there. But technically, you don't need a notch that is that big, because for a 36-inch nominal wide door that's 35 3/4, you're not ordering 36. You're going to order 35 3/4, then half notch onto that, and then do the half-inch. Really is all you would need, because you're already an eighth of an inch short. I might go to 5/8 just to have a little breathing room there. But case in point, when you are notching either a half or a full notch, obviously you're ordering it to the net size you want. The notching procedure adds a very small amount of money to the project, and you can see how they do that. I can assure you that the cost to do a notch is far less than what it would cost to have someone do it in the field. This notch on this side would require a little bit of filing. They got a little bit left over there, so be mindful probably to expect to have a file when you're doing this work. I don't know, there's likely a tool that's doing this process. I'm not sure. But nonetheless, so the moral of the story is you probably need a half notch. You probably don't need to cut all of this back, because you likely have an adequate amount of room between the face of the door and the face of the stop. You likely have weather stripping that occupies that area anyway, so you probably have that room. You will absolutely want to order this the net size, because you don't want to order it 36, then half notch it, then realize, oh, my door is 35 3/4. Then you've got to cut it down, and then you've got to notch. Then you've got to do some notching. So those would go together. So that's what a half notch is. And then a full notch, they only offer a half-inch on both ends, and that would be the, I didn't say, but when we do a half notch, it adds the prefix N to the part number. It might be a prefix or a suffix. And then we define the cutback of the notch. And then on a full notch, it's a half-inch, and then the part number that is added, the part of the part number added. Sorry, this is 5/8. Pardon me, this is half-inch. M is what's added to a full notch, so that's a half-inch notch. I'm going to think that that's extremely typical and common when you're notching weather stripping products. If you have any questions on the procedure of notching, please let us know. You do need to make room for it when you're installing it, absolutely, on in-swing doors, which in residential applications, which is really where you'll see these mostly, I think, it would be required to notch the drip cap feature. Any questions on the notching procedure, please feel free to reach out to us, and thank you very much. Again, thank you for watching, and if you've enjoyed this video, please click thumbs up. Please subscribe and maybe even send the video to someone that you know. Thank you.